When I call your name and the organization that you represent, please come forward and light one of the 6 yard-side candles in front of you. In memory of Colonel Aluf David Mickey Marcus, graduate United States Military Academy, class of 24, fell in combat, Jerusalem, 1948. I call upon his great-nephew, Joel Marcus, to please step forward. Joel? To the 6 million martyrs, Jewish martyrs who were murdered in the Shoah, I'd like to invite Dr. Ruth Westheimer and some students from the SAR Academy to come forward and to please light a candle. In memory of the members of the Israel Defense Forces who fell in defense of their country, civilian Israelis murdered by Arab terrorists, I ask that Ambassador Ido Aharoni and Mark Leibowitz of Aluf Stone to step forward to light a candle. In memory of members of the Armed Forces of the United States of America who fell in defense of their country, I would like to call to the podium Cadet Allison Hauptman, Cadet Stuart Topp, Cadet Menachem Feldsberg of the United States Military Academy at West Point. In memory of the 41 North American Machal and Aliyah Bet volunteers, Jew and Christian, who gave their lives to reestablish the State of Israel, I'd like to call forward Duke Lukbowski and Patty Edmondson Brakely. I'd like to tell you something about Miss Brakely. Her brother, William Edmondson, amongst the Christian volunteers whom we memorialized last year, fell on the way in the back and forth Jerusalem and was buried in the military cemetery in Haifa. Let me tell you a little bit about If I may be indulged, let me just mention something about William Bertrand Edmondson, born in Philadelphia, April 11, 1927, enlisted in the Army of the United States, June 21, 1944, at the age of 17. After the war, studied art in Paris, got married, then went 6 months later to join Sahel, a on May the 24th, 1948, was killed in action on the road to Jerusalem, July 10, 1948, and buried at the Haifa Military Cemetery sometime later in 1949. May his memory be blessed.
Amen.
Finally, I'd like to call upon Mr. Paul Kay and Mr. Ira Feinberg of AVI, and originally of both Ali Abed and Machal, to light a memorial candle in memory of those members of Machal and Ali Abed who have died since our last gathering.
Rabbi Felsenberg, Ambassador Aroni, Dr. Westheimer, veterans of Machal and IDF, ladies and gentlemen, Shalom. And isn't this a gorgeous day to be together, both to memorialize Colonel Marcus and to honor the women of Machal. As president of the American Veterans of Israel Legacy Corporation, I am pleased and honored to welcome all of you to the 46th annual Mickey Marcus Memorial Service here at the Jewish Chapel of the United States Military Academy at West Point. This year, the theme of our service is to recognize again the women of Machal, who contributed mightily to the reestablishment of the Jewish Commonwealth in her historic homeland, Eretz Yisrael. Today, we shall be honoring 10 women who served in a variety of combat support and medical positions in the nascent Israel Defense Force. And what an interesting and diverse group it is. From their backgrounds prior to serving in Machal to how each answered the call and the groundbreaking wartime roles each played. Further, the legacy of expertise which would later serve as stepping stones for future generations of women and men in service to Israel. While each may be very modest in discussing her particular accomplishments, we at AVILC see no reason not to boast very loudly of what each did to help in the defense of Israel in 1948. We must never lose sight of the fact that the enterprise upon which each of these women set out was far from easy, nor, to say the least, was success assured. Each could have chosen easily not to leave the comfort of their homes, travel to the wilds of war in the Middle East. But like Colonel David Mickey Marcus, they did. And for that reason alone, are all the more to be honored. Each will be called by name, her work described, and then Ambassador Aroni, representing the government of Israel, will present a silver pin acknowledging exceptional service. Lastly, allow me to very publicly thank Rafi Maron and Cy Spiegelman, board members of AVILC, for extraordinary work in putting together today's wonderful program. You know, that's the end of the prepared remarks, but I'm wondering how many of you saw the international section of the Times on Thursday. And the headline reads, Israel's Big Day Under Sun and Cloud. And it features an interview with President Peres. And in that interview, he talks about the poor odds that the Zionists had against the Arab nations in 1948. He says, Israel mathematically or tangibly should not have been established. We were 650,000. They were 40 million. We had barely 5,000 soldiers. They had 7 armies. So he adds, tangibly, we were on the brink of collapse, but we won anyway, thanks to hidden powers. Ever since, for all my life, I have tried to understand those immeasurable powers. So I would respectfully say to President Peres, were he here today, the powers are not so hidden. We have the Machal, the women of Machal. He could be here and rub shoulders with Dr. Ruth Westheimer and Cy Spiegelman and Paul Kay and Naomi Canty and others. So we have a beautiful success story here. We have the powers that be. We compliment you, we honor you, we love you, and thank you all for attending.